Hundreds of kilometres from the front line, the western city of Lviv felt Russia's wrath overnight. Likewise in Lutsk, a city even further from the fighting, where houses were destroyed in the latest massive assault.
At 2 a.m., there was an alarm. Then at 3 a.m., I heard a loud humming sound. I pressed myself against the pillow. I was scared, and then there were many explosions. I can't talk because I'm in such a state. The door and window were blown out. Everything was smashed.
Ukraine said more than 620 drones and missiles were launched from Russia last night. The Air Force said it downed more than half. The Russian Defense Ministry said it targeted military and industrial sites in Lviv, Kharkiv and Lutsk, as well as a military aerodrome. Aside from the human cost, this war also has a financial one. The Shahed is a drone Russia initially bought from Iran and is now making its own version of and ramping up production. A Shahed carrying a warhead costs between $10,000 and $50,000 to produce, as opposed to millions for cruise missiles. They've also changed tactics. Earlier, Shaheds flew low and were easier to shoot down with machine guns. Now they fly much higher before dive bombing their targets at an angle and speed much harder to intercept. Ukraine's air defences are scrambling to react. Not only do the missiles used to shoot down drones cost more than the drones themselves, they are also in increasingly short supply, stoking fears for those on the front line and those significantly further afield.
And for more, we now turn to military expert Domitilla Sagromoso from King's College London. Domitilla, as we saw in the report, Russia is flooding Ukraine's skies with waves of drone attacks and missile strikes. Given air defense is so expensive, how much is this also a war of economics?
It definitely is a war of economics, and the Shaheds and the Gerans too that Russia is sending are not a very expensive weapon. They cost between $20,000 and $50,000. And as we know, many of the air defense systems that the United States and Europe are providing to Ukraine are a lot more expensive. But what is interesting is that Ukraine is now developing, interceptors, drone interceptors, which cost a lot less. I found out details about it costing between $2,000 and $5,000. So if this system really starts working and Ukraine is now putting a lot of emphasis into that, then, it could have a sort of an advantage in terms of the cost, because you would be using an interceptor of maybe $3,000 against a Shahed drone, which costs around $35,000. So that is one important equation. Then, of course, we have the cost of the more sophisticated Patriot and IRIS-T missile systems, where you have, a unit cost of a Patriot missile is around, $4 million. And the overall Patriot system in itself can cost up to $1 billion. So that is a lot more expensive, but those systems can be used more effectively against incoming missiles, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and also potentially glided bombs, which Russia has used quite a lot. So we have to see how each of these products is used more effectively.
We should mention Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is in North Korea today and praised the country's leadership for supporting Moscow's war effort. What role is North Korea playing in supporting Russia's bombing campaign?
North Korea has really played a very important, almost strategic role in terms of providing support with long-range missiles and shorter-range missiles, which have been very powerful, and also a huge amount of rounds of ammunition, about 4 million. There are reports that already about 16,000 containers weaponry from North Korea have been sent to Russia. And there are also reports that almost 70% of all the sort of ammunition that Russia is using comes from North Korea. So, I mean, we clearly know that North Korea is a fundamental, provider of weaponry to Russia, and it's strategically really vital. And this is quite astonishing because we always thought that Russia was one of the biggest arms producers. But they've used a lot of their equipment. They've exhausted a lot of their former sort of Soviet military equipment. So I think that supplies from North Korea are particularly relevant in that respect. We also know that military personnel was sent to Russia to fight in the Kursk area, which was under Ukrainian occupation, but there were a high number of casualties. So it seems now North Koreans do not want to be sent to the front lines. So, we must see what happens in terms of additional support, but it's certainly a very important sort of joint collaboration. And in exchange, North Korea can get support for its own nuclear program, air defense system, and also early warning system.
Right. And we're going to have to end it there. That's Domitila Sagromoso. Many, many thanks, as always.